بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام الأتمين الأكملين على المبعوث بحق هداية ورحمة للعالمين وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. All praise is due to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help and we seek His forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from the evil of ourselves and the evil of our actions. Whomever Allah Azza wa Jal guides, none can misguide, and whomever Allah Azza wa Jal leads astray, none can guide. And I bear witness that there is no God or deity worthy of worship but one, Allah alone. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is His slave and His messenger. Allah Azza wa Jal says a very important verse in the Quran: O you who believe, fear Allah. Fear Allah, the fear He deserves. And only die in state of total submission to Allah and to Allah alone. My brothers and my sisters, do not depart this world unless you believe in Allah Azza wa Jal and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to teach us what benefits us and to benefit us with what He has taught us and to increase us in Islamic and beneficial knowledge. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make this series a beneficial series for us in this world and the hereafter. And lastly, I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to protect, safeguard and grant the people of Palestine victory. Ameen. A quick reminder, inshallah, just for those who don't remember. فَذَكِّرْ فِإِنَّ الذِّكْرَ تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Obviously remind, for indeed the reminder benefits the believers. You're waiting here, بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ for Isha. Every second that goes past from now till the adhan, till the prayer, inshallah, every second you're going to get rewarded for it as if you're in salah. Plus you listening to the words of Allah, plus you listening to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, plus you listening to a story of one of his prophets. So imagine the rewards that we inshallah achieve in the next hour bi'idhnillah azza wa jal. We continue on from last week. Last week we spoke about when the king saw the nightmare, or what appeared to him to be a nightmare, okay, a dream of 7 strong, fat, big cows were eaten and devoured, mauled by 7 skinny, weak cows. And then he saw 7 green grains and 7 dry ones. So what he does is that he calls all the most educated, the most smartest, the most wisest of people from Egypt, all the ones that he controls in his domain. He tells them this dream and he calls it a ru'ya, a vision, a good dream, a dream that has a meaning. He says to them and he asks them to interpret this dream for him, so he can know what to do in the future. Their reply was, قالوا أضغاث أحلام. They said, أضغاث أحلام. Now to understand this word, we had to dive in a bit more and give the different explanations and the different types of dreams. Dreams that you and I get. So we said, generally speaking, dreams are divided into 3 or 2, but let's just say 3 for argument's sake. A good dream, which is called a ru'ya, or a dream that is from the shaitan in order to scare you, or a confused dream. The dream, the scary one, and the one that's confused, they called adghath ahlam. So indirectly what they've said to the king is they've kind of belittled his dream, they belittled him, and they said, you've gathered us here and it's generally adghath ahlam. It's not a vision, it's not a good dream, it doesn't have a dream that is a meaningful dream. It's just adghath ahlam. You're overthinking, you overate, and wa ila akhirih. So in order to understand adghath ahlam, we have to explain what dreams were. And whoever wants to know this, usually you don't get it in a lecture. So we went over maybe 15 minutes about dreams that you and I might have, which type, what do we do when we see scary dreams, when we see good dreams. All that is in the previous lesson. So I'll do, if you were obviously inshallah interested, watch last week's lesson inshallah. So they said adghath ahlam. The ulama here, they say that these scholars, magicians, sorcerers, fortune tellers, they combined 3 shars, 3 evil things. in just by saying قالوا أضغاث أحلام. Just by saying that this dream, O king, is only a confused, overthinking, a mixed, a meaningless dream. They've combined three things. They combine number one, al-jahl, ignorance. They combine, first one is al-jahl, because they couldn't, what they combine, number one is ignorance. Ignorance is something bad. That's number one. But how is it ignorant? Because instead of acknowledging it was a ru'ya, a good dream or a vision or something meaningful, they call it adghath ahlam. So this indicates and showcases their ignorance. They're ignorant of the matter. Number one. Number two is they spoke without knowledge. They spoke without knowledge. They could simply say, look, king, this could be a ru'ya, or this is a ru'ya, because obviously it's meaningful. And they said, listen, we don't know the interpretation. Be open, be front, be honest. No. To cover their ignorance, they spoke without knowledge. And they said, this is not a ru'ya, this is a adghath ahlam, a confused dream. So now what do we have now? We have ignorance, jahl. We have al-kalam bi ghayr ilm, speaking without knowledge. Speaking without knowledge. The third one is they gave themselves virtue. They gave themselves a fadl, which wasn't there. Okay, a fadl. Meaning that, subhanAllah, if, subhanAllah, it doesn't belong. So if, subhanAllah, if it was a ru'ya, okay, so them saying that it's not a ru'ya, but it's a adghath ahlam, a confused dream, they've indirectly said to the king that, look, we know of these things. You don't know. Okay, we know, you don't know, and this is not a vision, this is but a adghath ahlam, a confused dream. طيب? So three things they combined. Now one of the ones they combine is something that you and I fall to on a regular basis, or we see mainstream Muslims today fall into. Speaking without ilm, speaking without knowledge. How widespread is this today? Yani, we're not living under a rock. How many brothers or sisters, let's begin with the sisters today. A sister that's half a scarf, she's online, thousands of views, and giving fatwa, giving Islamic verdicts. And I heard this with my own ears. She spoke one of the, for a simple matter, she confused that went around, didn't even go to any other scholars. Oh, this is my opinion. In the end, she gives a verdict based on her opinion. Oh, sorry, full due respect, who are you? And the idiots more are the ones that like the videos. That's for me, that's the worst ones. Sorry, who are you? On what basis? Where'd you study? Who gave you subhanAllah, the credit to give a verdict? Wallah, people study for 15, 20 years today and still will not give a verdict. They'll give a verdict based on their mashayikh. They'll give a fatwa based on their mashayikh. How can you give a fatwa? On what basis? On what credentials? Imagine a doctor, qualified doctor, sits and another guy is giving a medical advice from Google. The doctor is going to say, this guy's crazy. And anyone that listens to him is even more crazy. Same thing, actually more importantly, is in the deen. Wallahi, the verdict that you give, brother or sister, that's not based on from the Quran or Sunnah or from the scholars of the Salaf, and you misguide people and they are doing it in the thousands. Wallah, each one that does that sin, you get sin for it. Allahu Akbar. Anyone that does that sin, they get sin for it. And you get sin for it. So you want to hold that on your neck on a day of judgment? That's up to you. For followers, for fame and kada, that's up to you. Prepare yourself. Prepare a position for you in hell, according to a hadith. Imam Malik rahmatullah alayhi, one of the four greatest scholars in fiqh. Imam Malik. You know Imam Malik? Imam Malik is on a different level, different planet. Rahimahullah. Back in the days when they wanted to get fatwa, the people of the villages or wherever they were in the city, they would go to a group that's going to travel to this imam, and they'll give this group questions to ask the imam. Not a Google search. So imagine now months of traveling. Eventually this group meets Imam Malik rahmatullah alayhi, and then he says, look, I've got 40 questions for you. 40 questions, depending on the riwayat, which ones, but say about 40 questions. He answers approximately 8 or 10 questions. There's still 32 questions. So they said to him, Ya Imam, there's still 32 questions. What are we going to tell our people? You're saying you don't know, but what are we going to tell our people? What are we going to say to them? He says to them, go tell them, Imam. And he says, I don't know. Why am I going to go to hell for you guys? And with all due respect, why would anyone put his neck on the line, give a fatwa that he's not convinced with, for anyone's sake? What we utter, general lives, is on our record. When you give fatwa, it's a different level. Because it's not only you that, subhanAllah, not only you fall into the sin, but how many people have you now told? And how many people are not going to fall into the sins? You're accumulating all these sins. I even know a lot of mashaykh, and this is correct. They are convinced about a matter that's probably a weaker opinion, but when he's giving a lecture or he's giving a fatwa, he goes based on the majority of scholars type. Why? He goes, because I can meet Allah Azza wa Jalla if I'm convinced with the fatwa that I want, but I'm not ready to meet Allah Azza wa Jalla for all of your cases and all of your situations. Not dakhilak. So sometimes you see the ulama say the safest option or safest opinion is so and so. So please, don't feel like you are put in a position of duress that you have to answer. Brother, don't go to hell for no one. Wallahi, don't get a sin for nobody. You don't know, so you don't know. Allah, I'll get back to you. I'll ask my shaykh. And heaps of times, mashaykh do it, and we do it, we all do it. We have mashaykh that we studied under, something that you didn't cross your mind, something that you've done 10 years ago, you've forgotten about. You ask the shaykh. Nothing wrong with it. فبإذن الله عز وجل is something that we need to comprehend and understand. And honestly, brothers, please and sisters, take your knowledge from people that are reputable, not anyone that you see on social media. Okay? A scarf is not a reason for you to take the fatwa. Actually, if a woman is giving you fatwa online, then be very careful. And a da'an and a beard isn't also a reason for you to take a fatwa. You need to know this person, where he studied, and so on and so forth. بإذن الله عز وجل. طيب. Allah then Azza wa Jalla then says in the Quran, so they replied, قالوا أضغاث أحلام وما نحن بتأويل الأحلام بعالمين. They said to the king, their reply to the king was, your dream is a mixed dream, belittle dream, meaningless, and we don't interpret meaningful dreams. So what's happening here? Allah Azza wa Jalla then says, وَقَالَ الَّذِي نَجَى مِنْهُمَا وَادَّكَرَ بَعْدَ أُمَّةٍ أَنَا أُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِتَأْوِيلِهِ. In the Quran, when you recite in this surah, when you recite the Quran and you recite these verses, it goes from the king speaking to the people, the magicians, the sorcerers, and so on and so forth, to that a man, the ex-prisoner that was with Yusuf A.S.P.16 says, he says that I can give you this explanation of the dream. This in here and the verse after, there's kind of empty things that we need to fill in. Allah Azza wa Jal in the Quran, He doesn't go into detail. He gives you what you need. The Quran isn't a book of history. It's a book of facts. What you need, He gives. And the tafsir, what we're doing now, is when we explain the nitty-gritties or the in-between of verses. Why am I saying this? Because if you look at the verse, if you're reciting it and reading the translations, it appears that in a blink of an eye, the king sees the dream. He sees the dream. He asks all the wisdom, the wise people, the sorcerers, the magicians to come. He asks the dream. They say it's adghath ahlam, and then the ex-prisoner says, I remember something. But it's not together. You need to put things into perspectives when it comes to stories. Okay? So Allah Azza wa Jal summarizes and gives you what you need. But the in-betweens we need to add. What happens here is the king sees a dream. Then he wakes up. Then he calls for everyone under his power of who are educators, sorcerers, magicians, fortune tellers. He commands them all to come. That can take time. Why is this important? It's important because when the king started to speak, a group will come and you tell them, I saw this dream. What was their reply? It's a mixed dream. It's a meaningless dream. Another group will come. It's a meaningless dream. Another group will come. Who's getting frustrated now? The king's getting frustrated. And he knows deep down it's a meaningful dream, but these guys are saying it's meaningless. Ya Ammi. He's getting angry, he's getting frustrated, and it's taking time. Each group takes a day, until he has everyone. Okay, man, this is important. Everyone that were under his wing, in his domain, did not know the interpretation of this dream, and they called it a meaningless dream. That's the between. Okay? So we're on the same page. Now everyone is like this. But, Kaman, what it appears that now it was the last gathering. What it appears, it was the last gathering. Everyone that came from the start and in the end are all in one place. Now they are all in one place with the king. So I want you to picture it. All these educated people, smart people, wealthy people, people who are they're the advisors of the king, all these things. And then Allah Azza wa Jalla says, وَقَالَ الَّذِي نَجَى مِنْهُمَ وَادَّكَرَ بَعْدَ أُمَّةٍ أَنَا أُنَبِّئُكُمْ. The ex-prisoner says, أنا me, I'll tell you the dream. أَنَا أُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِتَأْوِيلِهِ. In front of all these people. طيب? But let's go back a tiny bit. وَقَالَ الَّذِي نَجَى مِنْهُمَا وَادَّكَرَ بَعْدَ أُمَّةٍ. Why I'm going to go back? Because this is an evidence to what we said in the previous lessons. Allah Azza wa Jalla here shows us an evidence and proof that these people that say that Yusuf forgot Allah Azza wa Jalla in prison, so Allah forgot him. And we said this is wrong and dangerous. And we said the one that forgot Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was the prisoner. This is evidence and proof. Because the person says, and the ex-prisoner says, and he remembers after a long time. So who made him forget? Shaitan. Who forgot? The ex-prisoner. He's forgotten Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. طيب وَالذَّكْرَ بَعْدَ أُمَّةٍ. And this is approximately 7 years. 8 years, this guy's forgotten Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. The wisdom behind this is going to be incredible when we get to the conclusion. The wisdom behind Allah Azza wa Jal allowing Yusuf to stay in prison for 7 years is going to be remarkable within Allah Azza wa Jal. So 7 years later, he remembers Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. Now imagine in front of every single person that is the advisor of the king of Egypt, said it's adghath wa ahlam, it's a meaningless dream. And Saqil Malik, the one that pours drink and wine to the king, and he's a servant, and he's nothing, and he shouldn't be saying a word when in front of all these people. He shouldn't be uttering his word. This is the king talking with all his advisors. He's a servant. Well, what are you saying? But he, out of kind of joy, he goes, I remembered Yusuf. Hold on, king, I can tell you if your dream is a vision or not. You know what? No. أَنَا أُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِتَأْوِيلِهِ. Look at the word Allah Azza wa Jalla uses. He doesn't say, let me see from Yusuf alayhi salam if it's a dream, meaningful or meaningless. He says, no, it's a meaningful vision. Ru'ya. It's a vision. There's a meaning behind it, O king. فَأَرْسِلُونَ. Let me go see this prisoner that I know, Yusuf alayhi salatu. So what happens here? All the people around him want to kill him. Want to kill this ex-prisoner. You're calling us all liars and you're a servant, and the person in prison is going to tell the king about this dream and it's a vision. Come on, this is also not mentioned in the Quran, but it's something that is natural. It's understandable. Remember, the government of Egypt is an oppressive government. It's an oppressive government. Remember this. And anyone that is in power, they were oppressors. Like the guardian of Yusuf alayhi salam, he oppressed Yusuf by throwing him into prison without any judgment and any accountability. طيب. So he remembers Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. أَنَا أُنَبِّئُكُمْ. Full confidence. I will interpret this dream. Not me personally, but I know someone in prison. Let me go see him. فَأَرْسِلُونَ. Let me go see this person, and he will interpret your vision, your meaningful dream, O king. فَأَرْسِلُونَ. Full confidence. طيب. So now, with that word in the Quran, he's pretty much indicated, indirectly said to all the fortune tellers, you're all liars, you're all rubbish, and the king's dream is actually serious. And it's going to be an interpretation. So then Allah Azza wa Jalla says that the ex-prisoner says, Yusuf ayyuha as-Siddiq. He comes up to him and says to him, Yusuf, O truthful one. Again, something that is missing here. Allah Azza wa Jalla only wants to tell us the facts. But there is, as the ulama say, something Allah Azza wa Jalla summarized. Yani, meaning that the king said, you know what, okay, I'll give you permission, go to the prison, go speak to that person. That's one. Second thing is, he's going to see Yusuf, and Yusuf told the ex-prisoner, hey, hold on, when you get out, tell the king about my situation, let him judge justly. He didn't. So what's going to happen? The ex-prisoner is going to apologize to Yusuf alayhi. He's going to what? Apologize to Yusuf alayhi because he forgot it. And then the conversation begins, which is in the Quran. Yusuf ayyuha as-Siddiq. Yusuf, O truthful one. Already. O truthful one, Yusuf. أفتنا في 7 بقرات سمان يأكلهن 7 عجاف و7 سنبلات خضر وأخرى يابسات لعلي أرجع إلى الناس لعلهم يعلمون. طيب. He says to him, O Yusuf, the truthful one, give us the interpretation of this dream. The king of Egypt saw this dream. 7 big, fat, strong cows getting devoured, mauled from wheat. 7 cows, and he sees 7 grains that are green and 7 grains that are dry. Give us an interpretation. He says, the ex-prisoner says, and this is why tafsir is important. لعلي. The word la'alli, I can explain it give me some time because I need to explain it. Just the word la'alli. La'alli says, so I may. But la'alli by itself, there's 2 interpretations. And according to these 2 interpretations, the words later also have 2 interpretations. Allahu Akbar. This is miracle. This is miracle. The Quran is a miracle. The Arabic language is a miracle, especially when Allah Azza wa Jalla obviously speaks. Jalla Jalaluhu. La'alli. What does la'alli mean? And why did the ex-prisoner say la'alli? Why did he say, give me the explanation, the interpretation of this dream that the king says, so I may. Like, what does so I may? La'alli. He says, you may know the interpretation of this dream, and you may wish to conceal and keep this information secret. Like, why? Why am I going to help a government that oppressed me? Why am I going to help people that threw me into prison 7 years? Some say more. No, not over 10, but 7 years. You didn't judge me. You didn't hold me accountable. This is Yusuf A.S. prophet. He's innocent. So he says, la'alli. So I may inform them, but that's if you actually share this information with me. Because you may not. You may know the explanation, and you may not tell me because they oppressed you. That's la'alli. طيب. And according to this explanation, Allah Azza wa Jalla says, لَعَلِّي أَرْجِعُ إِلَى النَّاسِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. طيب. So I may inform the people so they can know. Can know what? 2 interpretations. If the first interpretation of la'alli, which is, so you may inform me. I know you want to keep it a secret, or you may wish not to inform me because of how they oppressed you. But if you do tell me, O Yusuf, I'll go back. I'll go back and tell the people. Tell them what? I'll tell the people, one interpretation is I'll tell the people of your value. I'll tell the people of your value, Yusuf. So this could be your card to get out, Yusuf. The other explanation is the general one, which is, Yusuf, if you know the dream, because there could be a slight doubt from the ex-prisoner, okay, there could be a slight doubt because, man, all these people of Egypt didn't know. Full due respect, all of these people didn't know. So there's a slight doubt that he might not know too, Yusuf alayhi. Or actually it could be adghath wa ahlam, could be a mixed dream, could be a meaningless dream. That's la'ali. And then the second explanation of لَعَلِّي أَرْجِعُ لِلنَّاسِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ, so they can know, is that if it is a meaningful dream, tell us what it is, tell us the interpretation, so that people can know what to do in the years to come. طيب. So the word لَعَلِّي, subhanallah, it has a few explanations, and the rest of the verse explanation is according to حَيِّتَكْ لَعَلِّي. And both are correct, both are fine inshallah, and both complement one another. So subhanallah, why did the ex-prisoner have the first opinion, according to the first opinion, and say, look, you might know the interpretation of the dream, and you might wish to conceal this and keep it a secret? Why? The king didn't wrong Yusuf A.S.P.16 directly. The king didn't wrong Yusuf A.S.P.16, the minister did, the one that looked after him. He's the one that threw him into prison. But why did he put the king with the minister? Because the reality is the reality. The king, so the leader, this can be related to us. The king, when he allows corruption with the people below him, his sin is equal. His wrong is equal with the subordinates or his subjects. So if I'm a leader, for example, the king of Egypt, if he's the king and his minister is corrupt, his advisors are corrupt, so on and so forth, he knows obviously, because this is under his domain, he knows that these people are oppressing one another and he's quiet about it. He shares the sin. He shares the sin. So even the ex-prisoner understood this thing, and the king is equal guilty with what the minister did. طيب. Let's come back to a hadith. Let's be more relevant. Let's be more, everything that we're doing in our lives today. If you're in a place or a position of leadership, if you're a leader, you're a boss at your work, you're kada, and you allow injustice with your subject, with your workers and kada, you get the sins of what they are doing. Brothers and sisters, we've got to be honest with ourselves. This is the world. We are tested. Every second that goes in our lives, we are getting tested. People are accumulating sins without even realizing. If your subjects, your workers, people that you are on top of are doing wrong and you're quiet about it, even if you change it with your heart, I'm going to come back to the hadith, you get the sin too. What do you mean? There's a hadith that says if you change it with your heart, then you don't get sinned. No. Akhi, no. Sister, no. Hadith, the Islam is complete. This is why this is very important that we need to seek knowledge. The hadith says if you see something that is wrong, change it with your hand first. If you are unable to, then with your tongue, speak. If you are unable to, then with your heart. Worst case is your heart. Brother, when you are in leadership, you can change it with your actions. Sorry, you have to change it with your actions. You can't change it with your heart. You're not allowed. You're not allowed. You have to change it with your actions. You're in a place of leadership. Pull him up, dock him, don't pay him. This happens, get out, you're sacked. Change the haram with your actions. You have to. What am I trying to say? Brother, when you're married, inshallah, all of you get married inshallah, and those who are married, if you're married now and you control the household, brother, if your daughter, your son, your wife are doing something wrong and you don't want to break their heart, so you change it with your heart, brother, you're getting sinned. Brother, you're getting sinned. You are in a place of authority. You must change it with your hands and your tongue, minimum. Subhanallah, we go straight to the heart. No. When you're in a place of leadership, you must change it with your actions. When you're in the same level, co-worker, for example, then change it with your tongue. You can't force the guy. You can't sack him. You're on the same level. You're his brother, you're his sister, for example, siblings. If you are beneath them, then change it with your heart. Tahad. Yani. You know that this person, for example, is an oppressor. He's an oppressor. Anyone that spoke, his whole family get killed. You change it with your heart. That's when you do. That's when you change it with your heart. It's stupid to go on the streets and start killing people. That's haram. It's stupid to, if you're not in a place of strength and your words don't make a difference, then speaking up can cause problems to your family. Then you change it with your heart. Today, Israel and Palestine. The people in leadership today of countries, let's be frank, the people in leaderships, I don't care what the ramifications are when you take action. You're in a place of leadership, you take action. You take action, not words, you take action. Don't be like some countries that, I'm changing with my heart. You take action. But what about the brother? What about his country? What about his people? Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't say to look at what happens later. You get held accountable by your actions. What happens later is in the hands of Allah Azza wa Jal. That's if we have true iman. I'm not going to say names because it's not benefit. You guys put the puzzle together. Actions. The ramifications, what happens to you, what happens to your people, that is in the hands of Allah Azza wa Jal. That is out of your control. What you can control is you can take action. You must take action. طيب? So hopefully that hadith now is more clarified, inshallah. Al-Latif is one of the names of Allah Azza wa Jal. Al-Latif. Al-Latif means when Allah Azza wa Jal shows kindness in an indirect manner or in a discreet manner, indirectly, hidden goodness. The lutf of Allah Azza wa Jal in this story, in this moment, is crazy, amazing. Like what? Give me one. I'll give you one. One of the lutf of Allah Azza wa Jal in what exactly happened. That's why I explained that when He called in the magicians and the fortune tellers, all of them under His domain. Here He indirectly showed the value of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam whilst him being in prison. When He explains the dream, the value of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam skyrockets. Like what happened? First thing first, Allah Azza wa Jal willed that from every single human being living in Egypt and under the domain of the king, the person that sees the dream, and the only person that sees the dream, was the king himself. That's from the lutf of Allah Azza wa Jal, from the kindness of Allah Azza wa Jal for Yusuf A.S P.16. How's that? Let's come back to it. Why? Because when you see something, it's different than when someone tells you something. That's number one. And even if it was his wife, even if it was the king's wife that saw the dream, he won't give it as much relevance or much importance as if he sees it. Right? Not the other fortune teller sees it. Not anyone else. No, the king sees it. Like why? What's from the lutf of Allah Azza wa Jal? When it was the problem or it was on the mind of the king, it was on the mind of everyone else under his domain. When it was on the mind of the king of Egypt, it was on the mind of everyone else under his domain, his kingdom. And when it's under everyone's mind, when it was in everyone's mind, everyone's talking about it, it was public now, everyone's speaking about the dream of the king. When the solution comes or the interpretation of the dream comes, who's going to know about it? Just the king? Just the sorcerers? Every single person will know the interpretation of the dream, and every single one of Egypt will know who interpreted the dream, even the minister and his wife and the woman that cut the hand. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So this is from lutf of Allah, from the kindness of Allah in a discreet manner. So the king sees the dream. The king sees it. I said from day one, when we went into phase 3, from the wisdom of Allah Azza wa Jal, from the wisdom of Allah Azza wa Jal, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam remained in prison. If I was to come up to you and tell you, generally, imagine a prophet of Allah Azza wa Jal is in prison. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm not asking you guys a question. A prophet of Allah Azza wa Jal is in prison. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Bad thing, yeah? Directly into our eyes, without knowing the unknown, it's a bad thing. But Allah Azza wa Jal knows that this is the best thing for Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam in the future. And we're going to get and dissect that inshallah bidnillah azza wa jal. So one of the things is that now Yusuf is unknown to Egyptians. He's a foreigner from day one anyway. But no one knows him. Now Allah azza wa jal is going to make him the person that's going to be the most famous person after the king in Egypt. Through him staying in the prison. So from the lutf of Allah azza wa jal is first, the king sees a dream. The other one, Allah Azza wa Jal either made the Saqi al-Malik, the one that pours the drink, not be there or not be present when all the people, all the sorcerers were coming on a daily basis. He wasn't there to hear the dream so he can remember Yusuf directly. Okay, that's one of the lutuf. That because of that reason, or he was there but he completely forgot. But I'll take the second opinion, that he wasn't there. And this shows the wisdom of Allah Azza wa Jal and the plan of Allah Azza wa Jal. That the Saqi al-Malik, the person that pours the drink for the king, he wasn't there or it didn't come to his mind. That allowed the constant magicians and the fortune tellers, subhanAllah, to come and speak to the king, and all of them say adghafu ahlam, that this is a mixed dream, a meaningless dream. He allowed hundreds, if not thousands, of the most educated people in Egypt, all of them to say that this is not a vision. This is meaningless. This is you eating Allah, O king. Why from lutuf? Why the kindness of Allah Azza wa Jal? Also to see the value of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. To see the value of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. To see his importance. To see his importance. When everyone doesn't know, and then that person knows, you value him. You value that person. You know he's a person of importance. Now let's give you some examples. Something that's related, inshallah. Number one, I'll give you a side one, a quick joke. I know a guy that he got married. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with a righteous wife, God-fearing wife, amazing in-laws, perfect. So he wants to get married to a second wife. Like, why? You're happy? Why you do you hit him as soon as you get a second wife? Good luck, yeah? So this person said, look, mashallah, my wife is amazing, God-fearing, kada, kada, kada. Doesn't know her value yet. When he gets married to a second wife, chaos. She wrecks his life. Obviously, because not all the girls are God-fearing and righteous. But sometimes you don't know the value of what you have till it's gone. Or sometimes you have to go through something to know its value. You might have to go through something to know its value. Let me give you examples. Sometimes, my brothers, a righteous guy and a righteous girl, they meet. They want to get married Islamically. And subhanAllah, after months and months and months speaking, and you want her to be the one, kada, kada, Allah Azza wa Jal doesn't allow it. And in that time, you're getting to know her. Some people do kat tab, some people even get married. Some people do kat tab, some people even get married. During this time, she drives him absolutely crazy. Drives him nuts. And he's patient and patient and patient and patient. Until Allah Azza wa Jal blesses him. Yes, it's a blessing. Allah Azza wa Jal blesses him that he leaves her. They get divorced. Why? Why is from the wisdom of Allah Azza wa Jal? The reason is that when he does find the righteous wife, the wife that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote down for him to be his partner forever, he values that individual. Allah Azza wa Jal might know that this person, if he got married to the wife that he's supposed to get married to, he might take her for granted. He might treat her the best. He might not treat her the best. But when he goes through a hardship and he knows, hold on man, there's some bad woman and some good woman, he'll value his wife. And you look after her and you support her. And the same thing for a woman. A woman can get married or go through the katbaktab or the khutbah phase, whatever it may be. And this person is not God-fearing, doesn't pray, he smokes, deals with drugs. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses her and she divorces him, and she finds a man that's God-fearing, he prays, attends the masjid, attends lectures, kada kada, she will value him too. It works both ways. She will value him. And Allah might know that if she got married to this person that's good, she might impress him. Yes, women oppress husbands too, yeah? Not only the other way, trust me, we know. Women oppress husbands. طيب. Allah بالجنون, she'll drive him nuts. He's got no say. We know of people like this. So this person might have done this to this good person, but Allah Azza wa Jal didn't want her to get married directly to him. First, go see the real life, go see the ugly side of men, and then go see the righteous men. Why? So you can value that blessing of Allah Azza wa Jal. This is very important for us to understand and implement. There's other examples, but I think this is very important for the young men and women that intend to get married. So some of the young men might ask, why did I go through this? I pray, I come lectures, I learn, I study, I kada. Why did I go through this? Why did I go through this breakup or any heartbreak? This could be the reason. This can be the reason. So I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to allow all the young brothers here, the single ones, to get married inshallah in the future. Ameen. Alhamdulillah. This also happened in the Quran and the Sunnah, to know the value of something. One of the ones that we spoke about earlier is Adam alayhi salatu wassalam. I'm not sure if it's time now. If it's time for Isha, let me know inshallah. Yeah? We got 5 minutes? So we just lost track of time. 5 minutes? 5 minutes. We'll go through this inshallah and we'll continue next week. So in Adam alayhi salatu wassalam, the angels, you got to understand this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates human being, even though it was 30 meters tall, compared to an angel, are nothing, in strength and everything, even in acts of worship. Angels were created to worship Allah Azza wa Jal. So the angels had the question, why did Allah Azza wa Jal create a human being? We are stronger, we are worshipping more, kada. So Allah Azza wa Jal wanted to teach the angels the value of human beings. So what does he do? He teaches Adam alayhi salatu wasalam the names of things. Angels could not learn. Whatever Allah Azza wa Jalla created them and how they program, that's all they know. Nothing more, nothing less. They don't learn. طيب. As for human beings, we've got our minds, intellect. We learn. We educate ourselves. So when Adam alayhi salatu wasalam learned something new and he told the names of these things in front of the angels, Allahu Akbar, they knew the value of us, human beings. The same thing for the Prophet ﷺ on a day of judgment, on a day of reckoning where everyone is frightened. If Allah Azza wa Jal allowed us to go to the Prophet ﷺ first, and then we asked the Prophet ﷺ to ask Allah Azza wa Jal to begin judgment, we can bring an argument and say, you know what, it would have happened to any Prophet you go to. But no, Allah willed that we go to Adam ﷺ, then Nuh, then Ibrahim, then Musa, then Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, and all of these great prophets say, no, nafsi, myself. Then we go to the Prophet and says, ana laha, it's for me. And we know the value and the maqam of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So sometimes you want to go through tests to know the value of the blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is about to bestow upon us. So now we will soon find out the value of Yusuf alayhi salam, not just us, not just the king, but every single person in Egypt in that moment, and then later on, anyone that is alive on earth in the moment will know the value of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. We'll continue on next week. أقول قولي هذا وجزاكم الله خير.